Happy Monday night, folks. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We got a hell of a show lined up for you tonight. It was a busy weekend all across the country here, all across kayak fishing. We got the top finishers from the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series and the All American that were doubling up together up in Minocqua. We got the top guys from the Water Valley event for the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. Let's go ahead and pay the bills and get this thing fired up. Happy Monday night, folks. Welcome to the TPO Doc Talk podcast. It's me, Gene, and co-hosting with me again tonight, Mr. Jimmy Straws. Let's go ahead and bring him in. What's up, Captain Jim? How you doing, buddy?
Hey. Pretty good yourself. Thanks again for having me and letting a degenerate on the show.
See, you bring the brains to the group, man. You know, I'm a talking head, right? That's all I do.
Wow, if I bring the brains, I don't know what to say about that.
I keep the bar low, brother. I keep the bar low.
You're not striving for the stars, my man. You gotta shoot higher than that.
You know what? That's that whole construction thing. You could appreciate that. Under promise, over deliver, baby. That's how we do it.
Yeah, well, that's my motto in construction.
That's right. Man, it has been a busy weekend out there across. We'll talk first. We get the Bassmaster thing. That was a hell of an event that Steve-O and the boys put on over there. I can never pronounce that. I'll do its nickname, Susky. I can't pronounce the whole word and still sound moderately intelligent. So the Susky, man, that 240, 230 anglers or whatever. Dude, it feels good. Yeah, it feels good seeing the kayak game, at the high level there, thriving like that. We need one of them to do so, and we predicted it 2-3 years ago. It's not a surprise that Bassmaster rises. They're the name, right, in what we do, so they're there. But having said that, though, there was also a hell of a burner that actually put up even bigger numbers up in Minocqua. And that was the All American Kayak Series and the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series. They doubled up together and put on a hell of a show up there. I'd be lying if I said it was a surprise who got that thing, just because it's smallmouth. And if you're going to talk smallmouth bass fishing, I don't care if you're in a boat with, floaties or a kayak, it doesn't matter. This dude's name is going to be in there. And he better be if you've got any type of educated response to this. And that's Jordan Westerman, man. He put on a show up there with him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he put the smack down for sure.
Yeah.
But let him stay out there. He don't need to come to Colorado where we're loaded with smallmouth. But here he'd be kind of disappointed. So
I was gonna say we're Dinkfest for him. He would not have time for this.
No, don't waste your time, bro.
But he had pressure, man. He had a lot of pressure coming up from the guys coming up behind him. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring these guys in here. We're going to, in the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series, the top 3 anglers from that. And we do want to send out a special shout out to the 3rd place angler. For whatever reason, it doesn't look like schedule worked out. We couldn't get Mr. Chong Vang in here. He came in 3rd place with 89 3/4 inch on that day. Congratulations, Chong, and on a 3rd place finish there. Hell of a job here. But let's bring in the 2nd place guy, Mr. Tyler Cole, working hard in the cab of his big rig there. What do you drive, man? Do you drive like is it just a standard 18-wheeler, or what do you haul?
I haul storage containers.
Nice.
And it's full-size semi, 53-foot long trailer.
Good stuff. Well, let's bring in the guy that won the day here on day 1 with, oh man, he was 3/4 of an inch away from hitting that 100 shot for the day, Mr. Jordan Westerman. No stranger to the show. What's up, Jordan?
How's it going, Gene? How's it going, James?
Dude, you guys put on a show there on day 1. That was impressive to see. You were the only 2 guys that cracked the 90 mark. It wasn't that tight. Tyler, you did some culling at the end of the day, didn't you, that started closing ground?
Yeah, I was sitting on while we were fishing. I had a small limit going in, and then I was still 3 fish short for my All American limit. And the buddy of mine that we fished together for years, we always take this trip together, and like all of us Iowa guys stay in the house together, you know. So he went. We were fishing a stretch of river, and he went down the river, and then I went up, and so I didn't want to go down and step on him. Well, then all of a sudden I turn around and he's right there, and I'm like, all right, that'll freeze up some spots that I found. And I literally ran down and I caught 3 over 18 in about 30 minutes.
Good stuff. Jordan,
Yeah.
when you see TC making a charge, does it put any extra pressure, or you just keep your head in the pocket and keep swinging?
I knew that he left me fish on the river, so I was going to go get him.
And that was
Nice.
the thing. That was the best part about it is Jordan showed up at the river at noon and upgrades 5 on top of me fishing it all day.
You know, Westerman is like king for, and he does it in the nicest way. For those of you who don't know Jordan, he is a very, very friendly and open dude to chat at anywhere. He's willing to chat with just about anybody. As good as he is, you'd think there'd be an ego that goes with it, but there isn't. I'm saying that, I would say that if you were here or if you weren't, Jordan. But
Right.
what's so cool is that with a smile, you can rub so much salt in a wound. It's unbelievable.
I got to run my mouth a little bit to my friends.
Right.
They heard, they heard it a little bit, but at the same time, like I told them all on Saturday, I'm like, I don't like this 10 fish format deal. It's cool, but it makes me feel terrible. Like I feel so bad on day one if I wreck them like that, because it's like, I feel like I'm like hurting people's trips or like hurting their feelings. It's like this is kind of what is going to happen. Like I caught them. Like sometimes when you're on 5, you catch 10 or 15 really good ones, and the other ones don't make your limit. It's like, that kind of.
Well,
I like the 10 fish, but I don't like how it makes me feel.
Right. Well, that's like a Jordan Westerman problem, I think. Right there. Not many other people are going to feel that way. No, man, it's, and shout out to the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series, man. What a great event they put on. 22 anglers in the field, and check this stat. Out of 22 guys, 50-mile radius, all but 2 bagged their 5-fish limit. The smallest 5-fish limit was like 73 inches. Man, Minocqua and that chain of lakes up there, all around there, it's just such a strong fishery. And this was, these are some fun limits guys are putting up. This isn't a complete dink fest. You got 80 inches goes all the way back to 12th place. That's 15 and above, man. Those are some solid numbers.
And those fish are built different. Like we have smallmouth around here that are of the same size, but those fish are they're different. You'll hook one of these fish in 22 feet of water, and next thing you know, you watch it on live scope, it's coming straight out of the water and going 6 foot in the air.
Good Lord.
And and big fish, the 19, 20-inch fish. So it's enough to make your heart stop, because
Exactly what I was thinking.
smallies are heartbreakers anyway. And then just to have them jump and do the acrobatics they do is it's incredible up there.
This is the thing. So I love catching smallies because they are so mean and they're smart. They're smart fish and they're mean fish. Jordan, what in the hell have you figured out about this beast? Because, dude, your spirit animal is hands down a smallmouth bass. You are in these little bastards' brain. You've got their you got them figured out. What is it about the smallmouth bass? Not to say you can't catch monster greens as well, but smallmouth are nomadic, and like TC said, they're heartbreakers, man. They're there one day, they're not. What is it about? Do you have an idea of what you've locked in with them?
So one big thing that, like, people always say, oh, they'll break your heart, they'll leave you, they'll do all this stuff, and it's like they you can get right on smallmouth so fast, and people don't look at that way. They're like, oh man, they're gone. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I got to go find my largemouth. I know that for the most part, if I mentally stay in the game through the day, I have a very good chance at finding those fish. And when you find them, you get right real quick. Like on day one, I caught my first limit of like 92 inches in less than a half an hour. It was like,
Wow.
it was bang, bang, bang. Like I went 45 minutes to an hour throwing at probably 30 to 50 fish, and I didn't catch one. And then like made a little adjustment, and I caught 5 in a row, and it was like, okay, this is the deal. It's all about very, very minute adjustments, whether it's a color, a weight, biting a little bit off your bait to make it a little smaller, going to a quarter-ounce drop shot from a 3/8 to like having 10 different drop shot baits in different colors that you can cycle through. It's not just like throwing one thing out. Oh, they're not eating. What am I going to do? The largemouth are over there. They're biting. You got to really.
I think a lot of guys do that though, right? And we create a self-fulfilling prophecy for ourselves then by saying, "Yep, they're not there. See ya," and we truck on away.
And I guess I look at it like I don't come to tournaments. I heard it on I think it was Polinick said on a podcast a while back. When you go to a tournament hoping to get a check, you miss the check line. If you go to the tournament looking to win, you make a decent check. So I look at it like, what is going to be my best way to win? For me, it's more, I feel like lately, the last 5-10 years, those smallmouth have gotten bigger everywhere because of how we can access them, with electronics. And it's like, go find your biggest pattern, and to me, a 0 and a 6 out of the check line are the same thing,
Right.
and that's what
Right.
a lot of people are afraid to make, that move to go, oh, I haven't fished this all week, but I know there's a bite over there. Well, I'm going over where I don't know, because I know over there where I have fish doesn't have winning fish, so
Right.
you gotta, and that's a huge thing.
It's
Shooting
the home
for win.
it's the home run mentality, man. You can't be afraid to strike out, right? You got to swing for it. Well, listen, I'm going to bring him.
And how much of that stuff, Jordan, you think is timing on smallmouth for feeding patterns when they're in that mode to feed? Because I know out here in Colorado, you can sit on a point or a sloped bank and you could see them and they won't feed, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you go through 15 minutes of bam, 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 and then it's off again.
Yep. And that's where, back to that, you can get right so quick that you have to believe in them and not believe that they're leaving you, because it's like, yeah, there are some bodies of water where those fish will leave you and they won't come back. The Mississippi, those fish, especially when they're bait oriented, they eat, I've watched them schooling on fish in the channel, and it's like, by the time that one hits and you catch that one, you can watch the school disappearing from you, so
Yep.
That's a place where, yeah, they do move a lot. And I think that also the Mississippi especially is a timing deal, 1,000%, because they pull up and they leave. They pull up, they leave. If you're not there, you're not going to catch them. And yeah,
And they pull up to the funniest stuff, They'll
Right.
pull up on sand drops, sand points, just no structure at all, just sand.
Yeah.
And then one time, like, you'll go and you'll pre-fish and you'll catch like 25 fish off a sand point. You go back for the tournament and they're 2 miles away somewhere doing something completely different.
For sure, man. And so let's go ahead and bring him in. He's been waiting in the green room here, nice and patiently. This is an OG of our sport, man, and it warms my heart to see this guy. So that was day one, the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series. That was also, keep in mind, at the same time, the All American Kayak Series was running, and they're running a 10 fish limit. So while the Great Lakes was a 5 fish for the day, the anglers were still submitting fish all the way up to their 10 if they were also entered in the All American. And the man that was closing in on Jordan there that jumped over Tyler, Mr. Andy Moore. Mr. Andy, how the hell are you, buddy?
Doing great.
I bet that had to feel good, man.
Well, it felt really good because he's kicked my ass so many times, and it just heartbreakers, one after the other after the other. And it just got so old. I'm like, I'm never gonna beat Tyler. But no, I the night before, I'm like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna just grind it out. I'm gonna fish my ass off, and I did. And I just kind of like Jordan saying, he just said it perfectly. You got to ride them because they will burn you. You just got to keep after them. You don't give up on them because they're gonna bite. They're there. You're gonna get them. It's just you got to be really mentally strong, man, and just stick with it. And it's really weird too, like what Jordan said too. It's like my normal stuff was not working this year. It was weird. I mean, I pride myself on jig fishing for them and drop shot. I wasn't getting any bites. I'm like, this is weird. And I was kind of searching for with a little swim bait. I don't use, I don't have the Panoptics or that kind of stuff. So I just was doing a lot of fan casting, just trying to find them. And then once I found a few, I just kind of slowed down and I was using a rig I'd really never used for smallmouth, and they were loving it. I honestly think it was the fall, because this lure falls it just glides like super slow, and I was getting a ton of them that were just nailing it. Like I had to watch my line, like my line would just take off. And those were the hardest to hook because I honestly lost 10 or 15 hogs, like this big smallmouth, because I was using super ultralight. I mean, I was using I wouldn't even call it a putter. It was probably like a putt mini putter, and they were taking me into the weeds. And then that happened, it was game over. I couldn't pull them out of the weeds, so I literally had to chase them with my kayak. I'd hook into one, I'd see my line, I'd fly after it with my kayak, and I had to stay on them. And then I would get on them, and then finally I'd get some leverage on them, and then that's how I was catching. But I lost so many, man. But it was a good time. But yeah, no, it was very. I love Tyler, I love Jordan. Those guys, I'm so humbled to actually even be upstanding with them, because those two guys right there are probably two of the best anglers in the country. I mean,
oh yeah,
but hands down.
Yeah.
They both held up blue trophies. They both could fish in boat tournaments and they can make some freaking money, but I know that's not their thing. But no, man, I was really, really humbled. And, Tyler and me, it's been kind of a fun thing these past few years. And every time he beats me, I just like, whatever, it's all good, man. It's just, it honestly makes me better. It makes me makes me fish harder. And,
right.
You never give up. So I got my one, it's probably not going to happen. Well, hopefully he doesn't fish lacrosse, but, no, man, it was a good. It was such a great time, and I'm blessed that Joshua gave us this opportunity to go up there, man. Because it's like heaven. I used to say Alaska was heaven on earth, man. Up there's heaven on earth too.
Yeah, it's a special place. It's tough to put on events for sure because they're very touristy driven, so they really don't need a show to come to town, right? That's the thing. Yeah. So it's tough for a series to find the resources to really do it the way they'd like to do it, but when the fact that Josh has put it on the schedule 2 years back to back, and every time when people come away from that place, they're changed. They're a different angler, man. They just absolutely love going up there. I want to take a quick minute here. We got some comments coming through here. Of course, our brother, Mr. Matt Collins. What's up, Gene and Jim? What's up, brother Matt? Good to hear you and see you. Coming from our YouTube channel there, and oh, this is sweet. By Bass Kayak and Beers podcast. These guys, hey, good evening, gents. What's up, fellas? Thank you for tuning into our little show, man. We appreciate you, you guys. They've got a great show there that puts on quite the show that goes with it. Of course, our Georgia connection here, Southeast Georgia Kayak Bass Fishing. What's up, Gene? What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. See, look at this, man. A little podcast. We're going all around the nation, man. And how about that, right? Let me see here. We got a couple questions here. So first one here, let's throw this up. Matt Collins, talking colors. What are your top three to switch between? Let's start with you, TC. What are your top three colors?
There's one called Yoga Pants.
Yeah,
that
baby.
That is the absolute starter staple. That's where you start. And then I'll actually switch to like a smelt color in the Z-Man plastic, and then like a a green pumpkin goby or like a Canada craw, just kind of if they're, but 90% of the time they're eating the yoga pants and you never have to change.
Isn't that the truth, man? I discovered that stuff at Wilson Lake, Kansas, and I have not looked back since.
Yep.
I literally have a
Black.
box. I finally found them online on Amazon, and bro, I bought that store out. I was like, yes, 10 bags now.
Tackle Warehouse sells them in a 30 pack, just to let you know.
Nice. Andy, what are your go-to three when you're hunting the smallies or the greens for that matter?
The green pumpkin blue flick, little bit of blue, little color. I use a lot of just like my swim baits are like very natural looking, like a like kind of a little shad green. They look like an actual minnow. They're pretty freaking cool. They're very natural. I like to use very, very natural looking baits. I like a little bit of, sometimes I use like the Bama craw. It's a little purple, little green pumpkin. But this is really weird. When I fished butternut pre-fish, and I saw a crawdad, and it was the most colorful thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like bright blue claws, orange body. I mean, I was just like, what the? So like, why am I trying to be so natural? So it kind of got me thinking like, well, I could throw a shot color. A lot of people do. They throw shot colors, that catch them too. But yep. I always just throw very natural things in the super clear water. Just try to make things look, because I do a lot of finesse fishing. So you got to make it look like real, make it look very natural. So I use, stuff that they're looking at and eating. So most like this tournament, I use mostly just green pumpkin blue.
Jordan, what's your spill the juice, man? What's your go-to if you had three colors that you had to take with you? What's it going to be?
I always run black. I don't necessarily do the Z-Man stuff anymore, but I always do that black. For smallmouth, it's usually a green pumpkin, and then depending on if I'm minnow baiting or like pinging a minnow or doing a drop shot, it's usually like something more minnow style color, whether it's a smelt or a just kind of an iridescent clearish color. And then the other one that if I'm fishing around craws, then I'm fishing more of that like darker colored, whether it's like a plum purple or or not a plum purple, but that dark purple or a more of a craw color.
Right.
Like the Canada craw or stuff like that.
Straws, we're in gin clear water. Everything we fish up here is like, damn near 20-foot visibility. These boys out in the Midwest don't have to suffer from that near as much. They have some of theirs, but they get a chance to play in weeds and such where we don't. What are your three colors, man, that not to steal your juice from you or anything out here, but what's the three that you rely on?
It's all good. A lot of chrome out here because the water's so clear. Like if you're throwing hard plastics or like jerk baits and stuff like that. But as far as plastics go, green pumpkin with any combination of a blue, a purple flake, or a gold with purple fleck is really, really good out here. So, and I think it was Andy that was saying about the craws being a weird color. I noticed that at Horsetooth too. They had like a brown orange body and they had like super light blue turquoise claws on them, and I'm like, man, that is the weirdest combination.
That's that Denver Bronco craw. That's that Denver Bronco craw, baby.
So yeah, it's just match the hatch pretty much of where you go, and that's what I've learned. I don't do a lot of traveling around the country, but I've learned enough from doing some stuff that each area of the country and each lake and each section you go to, those fish, they have a personality and they have something that they like in a certain area. You go to Texas, you fish a certain color. You go to Florida, you go to another one. You get up mid Kentucky, you do one thing. You get up to Champlain, you're doing something different. You get up, it varies from region to region, it seems like to me. I don't know. These guys fish more national stuff, but that's what I seem to take in. So if I did more national stuff, I would practice a little more on changing colors more frequently to find out what areas fish like the most for color and stuff.
When I started fishing the Ozark areas, that's when my first real introduction to June bug came in, man,
Yeah.
and it was like, here, put this in your damn hand and go have some fun with it. And yeah,
Yeah.
I had a tremendous amount of success through, regardless of the season with that color down in the Ozark areas there. Justin Brickland tuning in on the way to Shields now, Strauss. Thanks for the hints. So he's
Great.
we've got and speaking of the hints coming up here, Andy, you're gonna pull this, aren't you? You're gonna make it to Elwood, aren't you, brother?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah!
I'm ex-
Can't wait
I'm
to
ex-
see you there.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I've tried. That's honestly, that's probably my last goal I want to achieve is to qualify for that. And I've tried. I've come so close. Last year I was one place out. 2 years ago I was like two places out. 3 years ago with our first qualifying event I was like one. It's been a heartbreaker for me. But I'm just gonna keep plugging away and try. I've never fished Elwood before. I'm
Same.
gonna roll up. I'm gonna roll up Friday, probably lunch. I'm gonna leave at like 4 a.m, and I think it's like a 5-hour drive for me. And I'm just gonna scope it and see what's up and see what happens. I'm just gonna fish and just that's all I can do. Just fish my strength and see what happens.
Dude, it's for those of you who are wondering, this is the Nebraska Bass Kayak Series. This is their qualifying event. Their championship goes on Elwood Reservoir this Saturday. It's coming up here. There's like 10 Colorado anglers that are coming over because a chance
That's
to fish
awesome.
Nebraska water, dude. We are all in, and
That's
it's
awesome, though.
it's cool seeing the clubs working together like this because now Nebraska
Definitely.
will have 2 spots. They'll have
That's
2
awesome.
anglers they can send to the national championship because of our numbers. So
Yeah,
good
thank
stuff
you
there.
guys. Thank you so much for doing that. That really helps us, and I mean that's great because that's
We'll
I mean that's a heartbreaker. There's like 19, only one guy can go.
That was our
thank
first
you.
year. That was our first year. We had
Really?
19 guys. It was like,
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
and
brutal.
the worst part is when I was running that for the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, and I jokingly said on Facebook on our captain's meeting, I'm like, man, why don't you guys just throw $10 a piece in and we can get that 20th person? And I thought, as a tournament director, I'm like, that's probably not the most ethical thing to do. So I'm joking, don't do that. So
Yeah.
guess what? I wound up coming in second. So I killed my own chance to go to the Bassmaster Classic, Kayak Classic or National Championship, and by 1 spot. So I feel you, Andy, but I'm looking forward to Elwood, man. The list of anglers that are on that roster, man, that's national. That's national names right there.
There's some. You're gonna earn it big time, and we're blessed. Like Iowa, Nebraska. I mean, honestly, I've said it before. We have some of the best anglers in the country, Nebraska and Iowa, and even Colorado. You guys got some sticks too. So yeah, we're gonna earn it for sure, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just looking forward to fish. I just love to fish. So I mean, I'd fish every day if I could. So I'm just looking forward to just getting on the water again.
So let's put him on the spot. TC, it was damn good to see you in the kayak again, brother, and see you out there fishing. You're looking good. You're looking healthy. So obviously this year, kind of refocusing a little bit, doing a little more of the family game there. That's treating you well.
Yeah.
Are we going to see you at lacrosse, homie?
We're 50-50 right now.
That means yes.
Yeah, right. You're going.
I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you like this. I've been fishing tournaments for 8 years now, 9 years now, and I've never missed a lacrosse event since day one.
Well, I mean, fact of the matter is, if he shows up, he's the dude you got to beat. If you're not pushing 90 plus, just you haven't hit the Jordan Westerman mentality yet. You got to be there to win it, and you're going to need 90 plus to take this guy down. There's no question about it. But
the secret to the river is you don't mess around. Like if you catch a limit of 16s, plan on 15th place.
Right.
Like you have to find those groups of those bigger ones.
Yeah.
And you can junk fish your way through, but you have to put yourself in an area where you have the ability, and the river's just coming off of being super high. It's dropping. The weeds are starting to break up. But they had a Spro tournament, all frog tournament last weekend that took 19.81 pounds to win.
Jesus.
Damn.
It took 16.99 was like 9th place. So I honestly think you'll see some 91, 92, maybe 93 inch bags
Wow.
And bring your frog rod, get her polished up.
I had a buddy call me the other day, and he said he's caught 4 smallmouth over 22 on the river in the past 2 years, and he caught 3 bags over 100 inches this spring there.
Jesus.
Like, those fish are there. It's just they move.
Yeah.
You know, they condense out after the spring, but they're in there. You just got to come across it.
Dude.
Like Tyler said,
And
you catch 16s, leave. Like, you're not on.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for people.
no, you're not. Yep. And that's it. You know, like, it's like me and Jordan have talked. You know, me and Jordan, we've fished together 5-6 years now, and you know, like, the biggest thing is setting a number for the tournament. You know, like the last few years, it's always taken 90 plus a day to win up there. You know, if you come rolling into town, I mean, granted, everybody wants to go catch 100 fish, but at the end of the day, you got to catch them the 5/18s, you know, the 18, and then find a kicker on top of it, because, you know, there's guys that can roll. And the thing with the river, it's the same deal. Like Jordan was saying, don't let your mind take you out of it, because you can stumble on a pod of fish and catch 5/18s in 6 casts.
Yep. That's the thing I love about river fishing, man, is it's so full of hunting areas. For those of you that are curious, you've got living areas and you got hunting grounds, right? And when you're talking hunting grounds, those things reload. You can get right and healthy in a literally, Joshua Deal taught me this. It takes 15 minutes, man. 15 minutes is all you need for 5 fish. Catch them, measure them, submit them, get them up. 15 minutes can change your entire day. And so on a river system, especially like La Crosse, you are never out of that thing. Just keep going. Keep, finding and searching, because they're there. 2 years ago, we had the championship for the All American Kayak Series at La Crosse. I have never, and I've fished those 3 pools. I've fished those many a time from my boat, from a bass boat. I have never been to La Crosse and caught as many fish as I did during that 3-day tournament, but they were nothing. I think the biggest fish I had was a 17 1/4. But I'm not kidding you. My hands were sore. My arms were sore. My thumbs were destroyed. But I had so much damn fun catching, trying to find the pods of the bigger ones. And there was just so many fish around there to be caught. It was unbelievable. So it's just grilling.
2018 was the very first kayak tournament up there. KBF put it on. I wasn't going to fish it, and a buddy of mine called me, and he's like, dude, I found good fish. He's like, and there's enough here for 2 of us. And I won that tournament with 81 inches.
Wow.
And that just tells you how healthy the river is from, 8 years ago. Like, that thing is literally, like, the last 3 years, we've seen more 22s come out of it than I've ever seen anywhere.
That's Iowa math.
There was a 7.5 pound
6 years
caught.
Yeah, there was like, took almost 26 pounds to win up there at the beginning of the year in one of the I can't remember what tournament it was, but they're in there. They're
and how does a guy like me coming from out of state, I'd love to do La Crosse, but I look at that and all those locks. How do you even break something down? Like, do I just start picking a map and throwing darts? I mean, do we just break it down to
pretty much
seasonal pattern, water temperature, levels? Like, there's so much. How do you know?
Just go fishing.
Like the biggest, and that's the biggest thing with up there is you pick an area that has a ton of options. So, like, you'll look through.
What'd you say, Jordan?
You pick an area that you can run around and.
Go ahead, TC. Go ahead. You're jumping in and out. That's all.
Oh,
but go ahead.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you pick an area that has a ton of different. I call them outs. You'll have rocks, you'll have laydowns, you'll have undercut banks, you'll have weeds, you'll have pads. I mean, everything holds fish up there. And so it's really hard to, pick an area and go and not catch fish, as bad as I hate saying that. But just find something that you can cover a ton of different water in a short amount of time. And then once you catch that first 17, 18-inch fish, stick to that and ask yourself, why is that fish there? Why is this fish doing what it's doing? And how can I recreate this? And you can literally, there's areas of this thing, like you find them on a sand point. There's areas that you could run sand points for 2 months and never cover them all.
Right. Pools 7, 8, and 9 are all in play. So there's a ton of history too that you can look on and find, from the amount of tournaments from bass boats to kayaks that have been done on the river. You can find a ton of info for each one of those pools, and
I'll give you the hottest tip there is. The absolute, this, I shouldn't do it, but I'm gonna. So the current flows north to south, okay? When you're looking for water, you're not looking for dirty water. You're looking for stained to clear. And I'm telling you right now, there is water on that lake that is crystal clear like a trout stream.
Yep.
Wow.
So current flows from north to south, you're looking for any north face pocket that doesn't have a direct flow into it. Like when you scour a map, you find as many north facing pockets so the water doesn't run into it, and every one of them will be crystal clear.
And don't forget this year that when you're looking at a map, that area might be gone. It might be
that.
Yeah,
Bro, that
record high flows for months. That completely changes the river. That's why I said don't even map study. Like you can map study on Google Earth, but don't map study channels and like this and that. It's like until you get there and you mark it, you don't know what it is.
dude.
The river fluctuates so much. It's like
sounds like watching weather. Watching the weather seems to be key then.
Yeah, well, to a point, it's more watching the flow, like how high that river goes. Because once it gets to a certain point, it's, I don't want to say unfishable, but you have so much that you're never going to see on a map. There was spots this year where you literally could be fishing over the road, or on I know in the past, like you're fishing deer trails, you're fishing benches, so it's like unless
fire
you know
pits.
the level, you're I don't want to say wasting your time, but I think that like my favorite thing to do there is show up, go fishing, and then look at the map and the areas from there. Because it's like Tyler said, you got to find your pattern that you're looking for, and just looking on a map and hoping and dreaming is one thing, but it's like you got to find where those fish are actively at that time of the year because they move so much.
Yeah, that's what happened to me last year. I was in an area and like literally I was there a half hour catching, and all of a sudden the water changed color and all this shit. So, excuse my language. All this stuff just rolled in. I couldn't even fish it. I'm like, that's weird. And I went to a different area. It was clearer, and then like 10 yards down, it was like muddy. And I'm just like, I was so confused. But I had never fished it. Last year was the first time I ever fished it. So, and I didn't catch any big ones, but like Jordan said, you just got to fish it. It'll happen. You just got to stick. You just got to fish it.
Jim, you'll appreciate this. One of the biggest dangers we had when fishing it with a boat is, like Jordan said, it reminded me when he said this, is you can't trust those channels up there on a map just because of water level. No one's map setup, whether it was Lowrance, Humminbird, Garmin, didn't matter. No one's had those back channels properly. You had to get up there and literally just, idle your way through to make sure you're not going to rip a low unit off, and find where these things are. Where's the deep pockets? Where can you get up into? With the kayak, it's even more fun. I will tell you this one last piece to capitalize on what TC and Andy just said. Remember, weeds and vegetation will filter that water out.
Right.
So you can be in a channel that is dark and muddy and nasty, and you see a big old pad bed of weeds up in there. Don't skip that. Snoop up in there, and you will probably find pockets of gin clear water sitting up in there, and that's what you're looking for that topwater game. You certainly want that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's it's everywhere. Like you can find clear water. Like I said, there's muddy water, there's stained water, and then there's crystal clear water. And they just, the muddy water, I just throw that out. I don't ever fish it. But like if you get a nice stain to it, that makes you complete stealth mode while you're there, and they'll be there.
Real quick, going back to Monaco, I just want to shout out to this thing, man. So the All American, to the anglers that joined in the All American, we love you guys and thank you so very much. 24 anglers. This was twice what we had last season, I believe, as far as participation up there in there. So big shout out to the.
We had 22 last year.
Did we have 22? Oh, it was St. Clair that we had the 12, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
My bad. 24 anglers. Big shout out to Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series for jumping in. A lot of their guys jumped in with us. And check this out. 24 anglers, 10 fish limit. All but 3 put 10 fish up on the board. If that tells you the health of that, and one of those put 9 up, and another one put 8 up, for the deal. So, I mean, this place was fishing strong. 363 fish were submitted across the board on 24 anglers. The winning bag, Jordan Westerman put this up, and I know we talk about other places around the country being these smallmouth fisheries, but folks, 197.5 inches just got put up out of Monaco for first place. Andy Moore, 183.25. Tyler Cole, 181. I mean, those were, and Dustin Cooksley, big shout out to him for 181. Tyler got him on the big fish. That was the tiebreaker there.
That
was great for him.
I never caught an upgrade on Sunday. I literally caught all those fish on Saturday, and I was and me and Dustin actually fished. We rode together, so we fished the same places both days. And he went out and he fished super deep in the morning and caught 5 upgrades in the first, hour and a half. And
wow.
It was the same deal. Like all we could get on all day was 16-inch fish. And that's not going to help you up there.
No. Thankfully I upgraded 8 on Sunday. What was that? I think I was down 8. I was down 8 inches from Tyler, and I was like, "There's no way he's gonna upgrade." I did it at the awards. He's like, "I didn't upgrade." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" I might even have. I think I might have a chance here because I caught 219s. I just slayed them. I'm sore. I am still sore. Like my arm, right arm, it's sore from fishing. It's just like, and that doesn't happen. My finger from my spinning reel, it's like swollen and it's like I have a contusion from that reel seat grinding into my finger. I mean, but I'll do that any day of the week. I do not care. And my hands, I don't wear gloves. I got poked by a 19, so she stabbed me so hard. Like, well, I almost need my first aid kit. I wouldn't stop bleeding. I had my hand in the water, and I make fun of people that wear gloves, because I'm old school. But I was like, man, I might need some gloves. But no, I'm not getting gloves. But no, that was. You got it. But back to. You wear gloves, Jordan? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's what my wife said. She goes, I bet Jordan wears gloves because he's so good, and he probably's gotten poked really hard like you, and he's smart and wears gloves now. And I'm like, I think you're right. Yeah.
It hurts so bad because they like largemouth. You lip them, they're good.
No big deal.
They'll shake out of your lip, and then they're bouncing
brutal
around your boat, and you can't.
Brutal.
All they're gonna do, they got knives everywhere. Their gill are sharp. Their spine.
Yep. Got sliced there by it too, like a huge 1/4-inch gash from its gill plate, and then it stabbed me there. Yeah, I didn't care though. Whatever it was. But back to Dustin, he last year he only caught 1 fish in 2 days, and this year he got tied for third, but I think Tyler must have big batch something, so he got fourth. But hats off to him, man. That says a lot about him.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
And you gotta say a lot about the 3. Andy, you don't use a motor or electronics.
Right.
Tyler's limit came with no electronics. My limit came, half of my limit or 4 of my 6 fish were without even my graph in my boat, and a flipping stick. So it's like,
that's awesome.
You don't have to come up there and be, You know, like
No,
you don't have to be an electronics guru. You don't have to be
not
a
at all.
live scope guru. You just got to
Nope.
kind of have some fishy knowledge and
Yeah.
put yourself in the right places.
Exactly.
Agreed.
That's how I look. That's how I fished growing up my whole life. You know, it's I'd rather fish instinctually and just like, oh my God, there's a fish sitting over there, and then I cast, and all of a sudden, boom. You know, it's just that instinctual fishing. But like, shout out, you know, to the people out there, the young kids that think they have to have it. You don't. You know, you can do good
No.
without it. You know.
That's
Gotta
I've won more major tournaments with a frog and a jig in my hand than I ever have live scoping.
Yep.
And I've won more with my eyes, visually
Yep.
watching.
Yep.
fish than I have.
Exactly. No, I
So we
I upgraded on a bass in a rock pile because I'm watching. All of a sudden, I see this big explosion, and it was like 8-foot rock pile. I threw my bait over there, and boom, nailed it. You're not gonna see that if you're staring at your live scope, you know.
Nope.
Oh,
For sure,
what a
man.
difference these guys fish than us, huh, Gene, in Colorado with our
Right?
pure water and our smallmouth being shallow at 25 feet. And then you're flicking spoons at like 65 feet and pulling 8 inches off of 65 feet because you're using
Dang.
live scope because there isn't a fish within 0 and 20 feet of anything around here.
Right.
Oh, and that's I caught every fish I caught on Saturday was caught in less than 6 feet of water.
Yeah, I caught mine in about
let me ask
8.
you this, TC. Let me ask you this, TC.
Yeah.
How you said you caught all your fish on Saturday. How nerve-wracking was that sitting there Sunday going that these hammers are just you're giving
Right.
them the opportunity to roll up on you? Like that's a mental game. That's a different level to stay in the game when you know that's happening.
You're right. And that's so the 10, like I'm not a fan of the 10 fish limit, but it saved me a check.
Yeah.
You know, because if it had been a 2-day tournament, I'm not even in the top 15. You know, put up
Right.
90 day one and then catch, you know, a limit of 16s on day 2. I'm not.
And just watch
you know,
them. Watch them up the leaderboard. You're sweating.
Right.
You're fishing
Yep.
faster than what you need to now, and you're like, oh my God.
And I did.
Right.
I went out I pre-fished this lake on Friday and I put up 93.5 inches in my best 5 out there. So I'm like, I know they're here, but I had some fish shallow. And so I started with those in the morning. They didn't pan out, which it's smallmouth. Like it doesn't surprise me. They move on me all the time. So I started to work around to the cribs and I was scoping the cribs and that's how I won the trash pot. Was I caught a pike in 22 and a half feet of water on a Ned rig. and literally I ran cribs. I ran any chunk of wood that I could find on live scope. I would run and I'd cast to it. It'd be a 16-inch fish, 14 to 16-inch fish. And I bet I caught 40 fish, but they're nothing of size.
So
And
Trey Dawson watching TC wants to know if you threw that corn-colored Senko. Is that what you got him on, or
Is that monkey puke?
oh no, what's the name? Sweet
Monkey
potato pie.
Oh, sweet potato
Oh,
pie.
that's that multicolored with the
Yeah.
red, the yellow, and the green
Yep.
and black. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You
That's-
don't give that color out. That works here in Colorado too.
Right?
that guy
We're
better
giving
come
away
back
all
from
the juice
Shields.
tonight.
yeah, that
Right?
guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully
That
he's
guy
got the
better come
podcast
Shields.
on.
We're
Right.
giving away all the juice tonight.
No, one quick thing too, back to what you said if Tyler was nervous. So I upgraded like 6 fish and by like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm gonna run. I only had service, and it was about probably a 20-minute paddle. I had one little area of service. It was like 10 feet by 10 feet. So I'm like, I'm not gonna sandbag. I'm gonna just take time out of my day. I'm gonna go upload all these fish. So whatever. So I drive all the way, I leave my spot. I go all the way back to download my fish, and Joshua turned the leaderboard off at like 10:30. So I was like, why the hell did I just do that? Because I didn't want to. I wanted to upload them just so Tyler could see. Like, oh shit, Andy's he's coming. I'm gonna dig deep, but but I tried, but whatever.
Right? Like 13-14 last year when you blew by me on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
That was, oh man, that morning was epic. I mean, I caught it was like a 20-minute flurry, like every cast 20-inch. I caught that 20-inch rather 19s. It was like, I'll never forget that day. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Got a question here, one last one, and then we're going to move over to our section 2 of the show here. Elvis Lee, definitely a prominent Minnesota angler up there, wanted to know, Jordan, did you catch any bedfish during this tournament?
No, I did try though. So there's a really weird deal that happens up here, and this is ultimate juice. Like, I don't like to tell people this, but so in the north, on certain bodies of water, the fish will spawn all year long, like from ice out to ice in. Like, it's what happens is they go through their initial June, first part of the year spawning, and then they'll pull off the beds. The water will spike up to 78-ish, 78 to 80, and then it within a week or two it drops back down to that, that comfortable 70, 72 and lower. And those fish, I don't know if it's a false spawn, because that's what a lot of people tell me, but I've actively seen them spawning in September, in June, in July, in August. They'll lock on beds for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and they get very, very, very hard to catch. That was what happened to me day one last year. I went bed fishing. I didn't catch a single fish off a bed. They're not your typical smallmouth, throw at it, catch it, move on. Like, you have to throw all the tricks at them. This year, the weather just didn't pan out for it. They were on beds. I caught a 20-incher on a bed on Tuesday or on Monday or Tuesday of practice. I think I had 30 marked. And I would say well over half of them were over 20 inches.
Wow.
But I went and checked them. I spent an hour on that. I gave myself an hour on that lake on day one, and I saw one fish. It pulled off the bed right away and never came back. I checked every other one. They didn't have any on them, and I just left the lake. So I did try. I told Elvis I caught that 20 on a bed, and that's probably why I asked that. But yeah.
Nice.
It's a very cool thing up there. Like I said, I don't know if they're actively spawning at the time or if they're just sitting in those big, because some of these beds are big, like
massive.
Some of them you can park a freaking Volkswagen in.
I caught one.
They're like 2 feet deep.
I caught one in a bed. It looked like a crater. It was I was just like, that's weird. I'll just cast there, and it just got slammed. I'm like, they're not spawning, because I had no idea. That's interesting to know. That's pretty crazy, but
I don't know if it's just structure too.
They're just sitting in it. Yeah,
but they will sit up there for weeks at a time.
Wow.
And a typical smallmouth will sit on a bed for 2 weeks ish, depending on the lake. But up here, they'll just camp out, and they do not. They're not. I don't think they're guarding fry because they're not super aggressive. But I've been trying to figure that deal out on why and what they're doing for the last 4 years up there. And it's a every year thing.
Good stuff. Well, listen, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for coming by here and chatting with us and talking about this. The All American Kayak Series presented by Z Pro Lithium is trudges on, man, and it's support like this that's gonna, that it keeps that series flowing, man. And that's Josh Booth has built. He and Tyler and Troy Anke, they built a series that so many people. We go to these cool places like this that. No, you're not going to see a bunch of fanfare with some of this, but you're going to come away with memories for a lifetime, man. And that's the point. You got to trust the powers that be over there. They're not motivated by what is the, what's the big dance, what's the big show. What they're motivated by is having high competition in great fisheries and some of the best friends that you'll ever meet. I still look at my trip to Lewis and Clark, being able to stay in the house with Tyler and Jordan and Jeremy Brandis and Mike and Tim Gurley. That was one of the coolest adventures I had ever had because I was a new guy to the whole thing. Spending, sitting in an Airbnb with those hooks, good night. Talk about a humbling experience. It motivated me to one of the best finishes I had in the All Americans because I knew dude, I'm rubbing elbows with some of the best guys that are sitting here, in this whole series. I need to bring up my game a little bit. That's what you get a chance to do with the All American. So, folks, check it out. We're coming to La Crosse. This is the place. If you want put one, I can't wait. I'm fishing this one. I may be a talking head at the award ceremony, but I'm fishing this one for sure. Josh will be taking care of the judging and everything back in Missouri for that. So I'll be on hand. I got the trophies and the plaque. Got that in the big Happy Gilmore checks.
Real quick, is my name on that already?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Take a Sharpie and scratch it out.
What's on your name is a bullseye, brother. That's what's on your name.
He's gonna wake up with 4 flat tires the morning of the event.
Right? We'll pull right down over the railroad tracks.
He's just going to sleep at the ramp now. You watch.
Yep.
Sun's blazing.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
For sure. So check it out, folks. It's about, we're almost exactly 3 weeks out, La Crosse. We're coming there, and be waiting for this because we're working on something that's going to possibly turn this not only into an awesome event for tournament, but there might be a little something extra going on. I'm working with Jeremiah in that local area there right now, where there might be some cool extra stuff that's going to be available to the anglers that show up to that. So be watching for us. We'll have all that good info out there. Andy, brother, it's an honor to have you here anytime you can, man. You're one of the pioneers of our sport, brother, and you're still out there ripping lips and, booking trips. I love it, man. That's good
Thank
to
you.
see you out there.
Thanks for having me.
TC, Jordan, you guys set the bar, man, and you're some of the best humans I know, man. It's a pleasure to have you guys on the show. Can't wait to see you guys in La Crosse. Tyler, I know you're fishing it, so you can't even hide that shit no more.
He's full of crap.
We'll see. I'm semi-retired this year.
There's no way you're missing it. Give me a break.
Semi full of shit is what you are.
2 days beat the crap out of me at Minocqua.
You're
in shape now. Come on, you're in shape. That's no excuse.
All you got to do is catch 10 in one day. It's not even hard.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, a morning. You'll be done by 10.
Yeah.
You'll be back home by lunch.
Hey, you guys meet me in Lynxville at the Wiener Dog place. When you guys are going north, there's a Wiener Dog place in Lynxville on the left-hand side of the road. Some of the best hot dogs around.
I'm
Don't
there.
tell 'em I sent you, but that place is delicious.
Now I got to go to Lansing. Jesus.
No, Lynxville.
Lynxville. All right, now I got to go to Lynxville. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Got it. So we're going to have you back on the show, and we're going to go over the good food spots here, because now we're talking. All right, gentlemen. TC, you drive safe. Jordan, safe travels out there, brother. Andy, tight lines, man, and we'll be seeing you guys soon.
Thank you.
You guys.
Later.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, folks. Now, if you've stuck with us here, that was supposed to be 30 minutes. Chen Char is sitting in the wings, and he deserves, now, I'm going to buy him a wiener dog at La Crosse. I'll tell you that.
And bring it home to him?
Yes.
Bring it back?
He should be coming, because I think he would whoop ass at La Crosse, quite frankly. That would set up right for him. But, if I have to bring him one home, I will. We'll keep it warm on the dash of the cab of the truck, Chen. Don't you worry, folks. What we're going to do here, real fast. We're not going to not do this. We're going to talk to the top anglers from the CKB. One of them couldn't make it here because he too is a truck driver, but he drives in Nebraska, Pennsylvania areas where there's no reception. So what we're going to do, I spoke with him this morning before he got in his truck, and we recorded it. So what we're doing is we're going to roll that interview at the same time we're talking to James and Chen, because that is your top 3 from the CKB event. Before we do that, I'm going to let you go take a bathroom break real fast. We're going to roll a quick 30-second commercial. Then we'll come back here, and we'll have the top CKB anglers from Water Valley here. So stick with us. And welcome back. All right. So, like I said, Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. We're on the second half of the show here. If you're still with us, we love you guys. Thank you so very much for sticking with us. If you're watching this recorded, we appreciate that. There was a question that was posed out. Where's the best state to catch big bass? The state where they're biting, my friend. That's the answer. There's bass all over this country, and you can. Each section of the country has different areas. I don't think you could pick one state. If you're looking where the biggest bass are located, that would be probably Florida, Texas, California. That's your big three. But that doesn't mean you can't catch monsters and find all kinds of fantastic fishing are all over the U.S., especially for those for the bass that we chase out there. Mr. Brian Roman's out there. Tight lines. That's right. He got it right. Yes.
Yeah.
We got it. We've turned Brian into an angler himself. So this is this is awesome to see. Chinshaw really coming to the cross. I don't know. I don't think so. We might be able to, guilt him into it, Elvis. We got a comment here. Wait, is Chinshaw really coming to lacrosse? Look at that. Chen, you have a fan base, and it's Elvis Lee. I mean, this is one of the top anglers out there. This dude is, he's watching you, man. Of course, and then our good brother from another mother, Mr. Trev Stuckey, there tuning in. Awesome stuff. Let's get Chen in here now already. Let's get him up in here. What's happening, Chen?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Dude, you've got a 5 o'clock shadow now. But you've been waiting in that green room for so long, and you don't even grow facial hair, dog. So
Good, you're good. No worry. I'm not in a rush or anything like that. I'm like editing videos, looking at fishing stuff right now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
that is awesome.
Shocker.
Right, yeah.
Looking
And
at
he's
fishing stuff. Shocker.
Sitting in his tackle room doing fishing things. Weird.
Yep.
Good stuff. Well, listen, man, CKB, you guys had a cool event. But, James, before we get to the interview portion of this thing, talk to me about, because there's a special format that you guys, and talk about Water Valley a little bit and how they're partnering with the CKB to offer such a cool deal here. So I'll turn it over to you on that to kind of get people up to speed on that.
Yeah, Water Valley is how do I say this? It's a big plot of residential and commercial area that they have exclusive water rights, I do believe. And there's Pelican Lake's private golf course. I want to say there's an 18 or a 27 hole. So it's a very big planned community. And within that community, there's a bunch of little lakes and ponds that make up that community. And those ponds and lakes are only open to the people of that community, sort of. But even the lake that we were on, the big lake, I want to say there's 6 houses or 7 houses on that lake, and those are the only people. And Jeff, who's the manager, who I knew through Centennial Bass Club, who invited us out there. There's literally 7 people that have access to that particular pond at Water Valley. Water Valley also does guiding trips. They do a thing that I just found out this weekend called Fish and Chips. So if you guys are fishermen and golfing, you can book yourself an event where you can go fishing in the morning for a couple hours. They give you a voucher. You go have lunch in their facility or on their grounds somewheres in one of their restaurants, and then you go play 9 holes afterwards. They also do that with hunting season as well, so you can go fishing and stuff like that. But there's a bunch of little lakes. There's one called Rain Dance it's not as private. It is open to the public, but it does cost a little bit. I think it's $40 for the day to go fish there. But once again, Water Valley's so private, you don't need a fishing license. You don't need to follow state regulations. They have their own biologist that they hire to do research and see the conditions of the fishery, how it's doing, what it needs. He has contact with biologists that have they've dumped F1 strain largemouth and the big Tennessee River strain smallmouth in some of those lakes or ponds. So it's growing, and I thank Jeff for the opportunity to allow CKB to even be part of Water Valley, because back in my day with the bass boats, I know Jeff was working there, and a lot of bass boat guys begged and offered a lot of money to go fish Water Valley, and they've always gotten turned down. So for CKB to get the offer to come fish that place, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'll do whatever I can do to help promote them so we don't lose that opportunity. So I can't thank Water Valley enough. If you guys are in the Colorado area or you're not, come on out, check out, give Jeff a call. Look up Water Valley and check them out and go support them and check out their great fishery. It's a great opportunity, and I can't thank them enough.
That's awesome stuff, man. And so the tournament that goes on, I do want to, I have to put this in because it's fantastic feedback. So there was a question, where's the best state to catch big bass? Our brother had a little piece of advice here, not Colorado. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
And then, of course, this comment, I had to throw this up here because this is pretty relevant here. I want a refund. Chin has a following.
We should have wore our shirts.
Oh, I know. I have them right here. I should have wore it.
Right. Yeah. See, dude, you are rapidly going up the list as one of the most prominent Colorado anglers out there. You got a fan base. You're catching fish, dude. Now, gentlemen, I have to apologize. I've been unsuccessful with finding the results on this thing here, and I think it's because I got fat fingers when I was typing. Is it listed under the CKB page? Under
yes,
our
but it might be under the. You might have to look under Tourney X under the archived file because it's a past tournament at that point.
I wanted to pull this while I'm pulling this.
Colorado Kayak Bassmasters on that tournament page, and
Jim froze up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it as well. Let's see.
Colorado Kayak Series. Let's look under show archived. Oh, there it is. There it is. I don't know what the heck my fat fingers was doing beforehand. So while James looks like he might be having some technical difficulties here, so we'll go over some of the go over the results on this place. You heard what he said was stocked in that place here. First place, James Strawbridge coming in 97 inches. I mean, good Lord. I don't care if you're in Florida or Texas. That's a hell of a day, right? I mean, 97 inch. Second place, Jason Lovell put up 96 and a half. So he only dropped by a half an inch. He was closing in. And then you, my man, Mr. Chin Charlie, comes in at 92.75. These are numbers Colorado does not see, right? I mean, that's not a normal outing there whatsoever. That had to feel fun, dude.
Oh, it was a blast for sure. It was cool just to be out there. If you looked at that place, it didn't look like you're in Colorado. You've got like $1 million homes on one side and docks, and then you've got like crazy amount of bait and just like it was insane. You got a golf course all around it too. So it was a lot of fun, and actually it was a beautiful place.
That's crap. And looks like James just lost power to his house. Welcome to Colorado. Our grid is garbage out here, man. It really is. I'm just gonna say it. This is crazy. Let me see if I can. Let's see. You could join by phone if you want. You might be able to use his phone to come back to us, but nevertheless, yeah, man, that was just an amazing event you guys put up there. And I was looking across the board. Chen, you explained this while Jim's dealing with the power out there. What was the format here? Because it wasn't just bass. You also had to catch a couple other fish in there. So what was the format to this deal that you guys had to do?
So correct. So it included your typical 5 bass limit along with 1 crappie and 1 wiper as well. So everything in total. Definitely was hard to get those wipers. I believe Eric Ali and then Johnny Machango was the only people that caught wipers that day. And then I think a good amount of people caught crappies. They got some giant crappies in there. I caught my PB crappie there during the tournament.
Good night. Yeah, we got Big E comes in at 26-inch striper that he nailed, and Johnny popped 25 and a quarter. Those things, dude, when they hit your line, they try to literally take the fishing pole with them.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, especially those wipers, man. Better have a good drag.
Yeah, I had a chance to get into a pod of them down at Pueblo once, and it led to just one of the most epic 30 minutes that I had ever had with, especially with a spin casting reel.
Oh,
I was throwing a little jerk bait out there looking for smallies, and it was
mhm.
just a little one, and it was a trout color. And I hear, as I'm facing this point at Pueblo, I hear what sounds like someone threw a rock in the water behind me, just kasploosh. And I turn around and look. Well, it was a wiper boil starting.
Oh
And
man.
I'm like, oh, hell no, I can't just not do something with this. So I turned the kayak and I just let myself drift into this cove and I'm throwing and just 1, 2 pops with that little jerkbait there. And literally, whack, these things must have like built up speed and they hit the thing on the way by. I went for, I think the smallest one I caught that morning was like 18 and then it just stepped up. I ended the day. Thankfully, a walleye boat close by had a scale on hand. I hit almost an 11 pounder. It was blowing out. I still got a picture of it. You can see the picture. You see my tether on my phone
Yeah.
going out as I'm holding the fish. It's because the walleye guys are holding my camera for me,
Oh,
so they could take a picture because I couldn't get this slob, and grip and grin. The thing was, I'm holding it with 2 hands across. It was amazing.
oh yeah.
Was
Pueblo's got some big ones in there, and Pueblo has a ton of them in there too. When
yeah.
you get on them, man, you're getting on them for sure.
So that's, if there's a striper population in those ponds at Water Valley, that means there's forage there,
Yeah.
and that they can hunt and go. And that's, those guys, hats off to them for creating a place where the predators can hunt and, eat. So yeah, that was I don't see a whole lot of, everybody else was not getting to them there, but it didn't matter. I mean, you guys cracking over 90, that's crazy stuff. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and roll, and we'll ask you the same questions as we go through. I'm going to roll this film that I did here with Jason because this is the only way we could finally get him on the show, and let's go ahead and see how the screen lays out when I put it on here. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. It's me, G, with the TPO. We'll turn this down. We'll move forward into it. Here we are. So here drives around the whole entire countryside. You're one of 2 truck drivers that I know in the angling business. Tyler Cole's another one. And so getting you guys, when you have an opportunity to get on the show, it's a tough gig, man. So I appreciate you cutting out some time for us.
Absolutely. Thanks for getting me on.
Lovell's a hook, Jen. I mean, he is on a tear this
It's hard to do
season,
it in the
man.
afternoon.
Dude, he is.
So
He
let's
is.
let's start with the
if it
basic
weren't
stuff
for
to get
Gardner,
people up to speed.
I mean, he would be in the lead. Gardner's just having one of those seasons,
When did you first
though.
start
No,
getting
he
into
is definitely having
kayak
one of those
fishing? Then? I
seasons.
mean, I know you've been bass fishing and fishing for a while, but when did you get in a kayak?
I bought my first kayak last year.
Yeah,
But
if
I
that doesn't
started
sting.
about 2 years prior with my son every time I went to Oregon and absolutely fell in love with it. But here in Colorado, this is my second year with it.
2 years. Good night.
Yeah. But I fell in love with it going to Oregon because my son always has 2 kayaks out there and takes me out every time I go visit.
Now you're a fellow new canoe man, dude. You and I, that's how I met you. Is I saw you out on the water, and I'm like, yay, another unlimited, sweet. So I came up, started chatting with you. What brought you to the unlimited?
Just I wanted stability.
I just want to let folks know this is the first time we've had a chance to have Jason on the show. So that's why I wanted to give people a chance to get to know this guy. Cause like Chen and I were just saying, he is having a season of seasons right now. He's second in Angler of the Year points for CKB, coming second at this one here. It's just, if it weren't for lightning in a bottle, that's happening, Josh Gardner is having just one of those seasons of all seasons. And then, of course, Strawbridge goes out and puts up a 97 burger, at the deal. And Lovell was right behind him by a half an inch. I mean, it's a hell of a deal. So get a chance here as we watch here, waiting for James to come back. But you also get a chance to get to know this guy as well, because be paying attention to his name. I have a feeling you're going to be hearing quite a bit of it.
And it was in my budget range at the time.
Yep.
And so far, I absolutely love it. And I like the open concept, more room, because I stand a lot and I move around a lot.
Yep. And that's you just spoke the unlimited through and through. That stability, man, was my number one. Coming from the boat world, sliding over to kayaks a few years ago, it was like, I have so much muscle memory from the deck of my boat. I don't want to have to relearn a lot of this. So what gets me as close to that as possible, right? And It's standing in any kayak won't be the same as standing on a 96-inch beam, bass boat deck, but it's pretty damn close, right? I mean, it allows you to turn around, stand up, cast. A little bit of a new canoe commercial there as we get to
you can move
know
around
Jason.
really easy, stand. You can set the hook super hard.
We'll move forward here. Water up at Water Valley. It's a private lake that not the general public's not allowed on, but they worked out a deal with CKB member anglers. So Colorado Kayak Bass members, they put on a special event there each year. You were at last tail there to the very end. What's it like fishing Water Valley, first off?
Well, this is the second year I fished it. Last year I took third there. It's just a blast. Every cast you got a chance at a 19-inch fish or huge wipers. It's just a fun lake in general. They manage it really well. Jeff Caldwell's doing a great job there.
Is there vegetation in this thing, or is it mainly just structure?
Mostly structure from the areas I was fishing. Last year there seemed to be more vegetation. This year there wasn't a whole lot, at least.
Chen, did you find where you were fishing, were you in the weeds at all, man, or are you just playing the structure game like the other guys?
I only had one bass come out of some weeds, but it was some dead, really shallow, not as it's kind of sparse, more sparse.
Was your day shallow, or did you have to go out to go find them?
Oh, all my fish were shallow.
Nice. That's awesome, man. It's shallow fishing in Colorado is not an often found thing, yep. So that had to feel fun.
Oh, it was a blast.
How much? You don't have to answer it if you don't want, but I just want to. How much drop shotting did you do?
I actually didn't do much at all. The reason why was because there's just so many. And most times when I'm drop shotting, I am using live scope quite a bit. But the places I have found structure, I would drop shot, and nothing seemed to want it. They didn't seem interested at all. So I figured there was just maybe way too much bait, and you need something that was more of a reaction or something bigger, something to catch their eye.
They wanted to chase, maybe?
Yeah, they wanted to chase. So most of my bass came off of top water.
Hell yeah.
And then I got one on a swim jig, and then the rest were on flipping a Reaction Innovations Sweet Beaver.
Nice.
Yeah. Dude,
that's the fun kind of fishing right there.
Is.
That's, the guys we just had on, they're from a section of the country where I cut my teeth with competitive, that's when I started getting serious about bass fishing, was up there in the Midwest, up north. And dude, there's cabbage up there that raccoons literally can walk across. They're over 10 foot of water, but they're walking across the weeds, in this stuff. And you got to punch that.
Oh, yeah.
You punch through those mats. I mean, to me, that's bass fishing. Where you got to wail on that hook set, to get after them. So it's cool that you guys had an opportunity to get in there and see the adrenaline side of this, right? And get after it.
Yeah, you don't get to do this kind of fishing much in Colorado, so you definitely got to take advantage of it when you have the opportunities to.
Hell yeah.
And that's what kind of stuff at like Pueblo and stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's what makes this trip coming up here where we're going to Elwood, dude. That's what makes that so much fun, is because know that's going to be in play. We're going to be able to pitch and flip and top water and get after it and see what comes out of that.
Absolutely.
But I also think you're going to be able to drop shot that thing because there's a population of smallies in that water too. So who knows?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm bringing everything now. I have to.
Right?
Smallies and largies. Now I got to take all my tackle, man. Shit.
Yeah, the whole back of my pickup is just going to be loaded right now.
Right.
Let me see here. That's weird. Now, last year was a pretty wet year here in Colorado, dude. We had a lot of rain last year. That was the greenest I'd seen the state in probably 30 years. It was, and that's not an exaggeration. It was like green all the way out on the eastern plains of Colorado, which is really strange because that's normally like ground zero out there.
Yeah, it's a bad dry year.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, good stuff, man. I hear also crappie. That's the big thing. There is some slabs, some hubcaps floating around in that water down there. Did you hit any of those this time?
Yes, I got a 13.25-inch crappie, I think it was, or 13 3/4. But yeah, they're big out there. They take up the whole measuring board. They're dinner plates.
Right. All right, Chen. Anybody who knows you knows crappie has a special place in your heart, man. So, Todd, what was your crappie? What'd you hit?
There was a 14 1/4, and I got a weight on it. It was 1 pound, 14 ounces, almost 2 pounds.
Wow.
14 1/4. So 14 1/4 is still a big crappie, but it's not, a 15 plus incher, which in a lot of places is what people consider to be a trophy crappie. But still coming out to almost 2 pounds is insane. This is the biggest crappie I've ever caught before.
Wow. And they got to fight too, man. Those panfish like that, they get turned sideways in the water, dude, and you swear you got a striper on board, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a bass at first. I for sure thought it was a bass.
Yeah, I bet. I bet they get their body to the side of that water and start pulling.
Oh yeah.
That's so cool. And as soon as I heard crappie, I'm like, oh, that's Chin's spirit animal right there.
I know. The cool thing is this is my first ever multi-species tournament I've ever done. And
Nice.
I'm not gonna lie, this is probably going to spark me doing more of these multi-species tournaments. Just because there's a different aspect to it, right? So
Yeah.
you're not just looking at one species and you're not focused on just doing a certain thing or a few different things just for bass. When you fish for crappies, a little bit, sometimes you do a little bit different stuff, different tackle, different techniques.
Yep.
So it gets very interesting. Definitely makes you a well-rounded angler.
Adds more layers to the whole game plan for sure.
Absolutely.
I have a hard enough time remembering left goes on left foot, right goes on right foot. So it's bass and that's it, dude. That's what I'm doing. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, we'll keep this rolling here. And it's amazing what happens to a body water when it isn't overly pressured. And
Absolutely.
it's properly managed, right? Hey, CPW, contact Water Valley. talk to them how they take care of their bass and crappie.
That would be nice.
Right. No, I kid a little bit on that, but I mean the fact of the matter is when it's not overly pressured, yeah, this is the fish population can thrive and they can grow big. Now you're not originally from Colorado, are you, dude?
No, I'm born and raised in Colorado.
Oh, were you? That's right.
Yes.
Okay. See, so we're good friends and I know nothing about you.
It all started at Chatfield in that snowstorm when you came up and had a conversation with me about my kayak.
Right, it was the shitty weather Chatfield tournament that we had.
Yep, you were the first one to come up and have a conversation with me. It was great. That was my first tournament.
Oh, that's awesome. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Chen, you were at that one, weren't you, dude?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Every April, it's such a dice roll. That was 2 years ago, Chatfield, the blizzard.
Yeah.
And then Boyd this year tried to do it again to us. It wasn't as cold at Boyd, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Although I will say, it was just wet.
Yeah, there's a lot more snow at Boyd this time, though.
That's true. There was more snow. It was wet, but yeah, it wasn't. The cold at Chatfield is what got me because all my line was freezing in the eyelets. So you get one cast, and you got to dip your line again, and by the time you reel back, if you're, fishing a drop or any kind, it's already frozen up by then. Yeah. And it just started frustrating the hell out of me. Of course, and then when my right foot goes, to the point where I can't feel it anymore, it's like, okay, off to the truck I go to warm up.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Or to let it flourish. It seems that trout and walleye trump, everything. That tends to be the and that's the cool thing is that's the one of the few reservoirs that stays open year round. Do you ever get a chance to get out in the winter months, so to speak?
I have not since I had my bass boat back in like 2004, 2005. But I have not fished out there.
Do you ice fish also, dude?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
We do a lot of tournaments doing that also.
That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, I was supposed to get out last year. Never had an opportunity. I'm looking. I want to go out. Want someone to take me out there. I'm not a big beer drinker, right? So the appeal isn't there for me. Because I think, Chen, you ice fish, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. I didn't do too much last year because I was more so prepping everything for 10 killer.
Yeah.
Get a chance to go out for some Lakers or anything like that.
Dude, if you get a hankering that you want, like an old rookie to go with you. I've never been ice fishing, so I'd love to get an opportunity to get out there and take a peek at one.
Absolutely.
And just see. But yeah, I mean, if it's sitting drinking beer, I'll drink hot cocoa or some shit, because I just am not a big beer drinker, right?
No, yeah, I feel ya.
But yeah, that's something I want to go out and at least do it once. Colorado's tough though, dude, because we don't have very good ice for that. You got to get up in the mountains to get decent ice for that, right?
Yeah, we got to get lucky with a few, like a week of just straight, teens and stuff like that, single digits, to get the metro area frozen enough to, for me to want to go on there comfortably.
Right. Elvis wants to know, Gene Campbell, how have you never ice fished when you're from Minnesota? Because I was a cultured person from Minnesota. No, I moved away from Minnesota for a while, most of my life, and then when I came back, I was already in my 30s, actually closer to my 40s, and just ice fishing has never really appealed to me, dude. It just was never. I can't. I'll be honest with you. I can't do any kind of fishing where it constitutes me dropping something in the water and waiting, because that's waiting. That's not fishing. That's a passive type of fishing for me, and I'm very active when I'm out there. I have a hard time drop shotting. If you tell me I got to slow down to catch fish, I'll probably zero for the day. But because I like to actively go. I like to be on the hunt looking for them. So yeah, ice fishing just never fell. But as I get older, I want to experience, like Chen just said, I want to broaden my horizon a little bit and understand stuff. So, all right, let's get this thing rolling here. I moved it back so we could get some of what Jason was saying here.
Half the time your beer's frozen like a slushy anyway. So
right. Well, talk me through Water Valley this year, man. So no practice really on this body water. It's just basically show up and go, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So what was your day like, dude?
Started out in the morning on the golf course side, throwing a black buzzbait made by Falcon Tackle, and I had a limit probably in the first 50 minutes.
Wow, awesome.
Straight buzzbait bite, and my biggest fish was 18. I think that was my second fish I caught. And then the bite completely died. So I went around the lake 2 or 3 different times, different areas. Couldn't get anything. Decided I'd go fish for crappie, try getting my crappie. Ended up with a 10-inch crappie on a tube, then 11-inch crappie on a tube. And I was like, that's good enough. Went bass fishing again between probably 9 and 12. Not even a single bite, except from catfish. Yeah, I caught 3 catfish.
So is that kind of a mirror of what you found out there, Chen? I mean, he was throwing buzzbait. What were you throwing on top water?
I was throwing a KBD Sexy Dog.
Nice.
That was actually the first time I've caught bass on that specific bait, because I have so many of the top water walking baits that it's like, I guess I'll try this one this time to see if it even works and how I like it. I actually been trying to find some more. I didn't realize, but a lot of the places are out of stock on. So I'm like, shoot, where can I find some more? I did find one place. So I'm going to make an order tonight, probably to grab a couple more.
Nice.
That day was almost like identical to mine. First thing in the morning was key. I got my limit. The funny thing is I didn't know I had my limit. I catch my fish, take a photo, and just throw it back, and I don't remember how many fish I actually have, because I don't submit any photos or anything like that until it's like the lull of the day. I'm not really catching fish, or I'm making making my way to another point or spot. Then I'll submit my fish on the way. But I had no idea I had a limit in the morning already, and I was still trying to fish for some largemouth. But yeah, definitely those first hours in the morning were key. I mean, not even the first hours, probably just the first hour or hour and a half actually in the morning was key. I think that goes for almost any tournament too, especially in Colorado.
What time did you guys go lines in?
Oh shoot, I know we did. We were like a couple minutes late to launch, but I believe we were, as soon as we launched. I don't remember what time lines in was. But
was the sun already up?
Yeah, the sun was. But it was already bright up there because we were kind of a little bit late to do the captain's meeting, because everyone's trying to launch and stuff like that too.
Gotcha. Let me see here. We got Elvis. Let me know. Ice fishing can definitely help you with your finesse fishing. Awesome. Well, that'll be good. Because Lord knows I need all the help I can get in that department. Finesse. I'm not even sure how to spell that consistently. Our man Craig, how are you, Craig? Good to see you tuning in there. Bridge Post had crappie all day at 5:45 a.m. Nice. 5:45 is when you guys launched out or went out there. That's awesome. And the Bridge Post had crappie all day on it. That's super cool. They got a good population in there for sure.
Oh yeah, they're well fed in there.
That's always the necessity.
So I decided to lock a peanut butter and jelly tube in my hand, 3.5-inch tube. Had to have an 1/8-ounce head in it. Could not. They wouldn't bite at Texas rig though, and I think they were like in the spiral, and then hit one bank, between, I'd say, 115 and 145. I culled out 3 of my fish and caught 3 others.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was I was throwing a Texas rig most of the day, and they were not touching it. And as soon as I went back to the 1/8 ounce jig head, I started getting bites all day. Well, towards the end.
So the exposed hook, what you think it was the presentation of the way it goes down was the key?
With the jig head, they spiral more, and I think that was the key. And it's easier to me to drag the tube across the bottom. When I'm Texas rigging it, it kind of seems to lift up a lot. So I think they like that bottom contact more.
Right. Looks like something injured down there.
Yeah.
You know, and I just want to point that out there. It's those little tiny things like that. So when you talk to the average Joe, right, Shannon, it's like we say, I was fishing with a tube. That could mean one of a billion different things. But when you got a guy that is who lives on the tube, that's one of his, he'll tell you here in a minute, he absolutely loves the tube jig. He's narrowed that thing down to certain, to fine details that changes, like the way I'm going to fish a tube, he's going to refine it down. And that's why he's got that success piece, dude. I mean, that's one of the things, I don't know about you, brother, but that's one of the things I love about this sport is that it's the details within the details that can really change stuff for you.
Absolutely. It's those fine little things that, either get you that 1 or 2 extra bites or get you that bigger bite too. A lot of times all the anglers, especially in all the tournaments, man, every year someone's coming out with some new little ways to do this or do that, some juice here, juice there. So you got to keep up with, sometimes you got to keep up with the latest trends, the latest little tweaks, to get that extra bite or two or get that, little bit bigger fish. So
For sure.
So that's my favorite way to fish a tube is with a ball head. And some lakes you can't get away without throwing a Texas rig.
You don't do the whole jig head inside the tube deal?
Yeah, that's how I do it with the ball.
Oh, okay.
Jig head straight inside the tube.
Gotcha.
But 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce, I try sticking with.
Nice.
And
you ever do the stupid rig? You ever done that?
No. What's that?
So it's Mike Iaconelli does it. I'm going to be piss poor explaining it because I've never fished it myself. But it's a rigging concept with the tube jig, basically called maybe it's called the stupid tube or the stupid jig. You have to look it up. Mike Iaconelli did a big deal. He was really making. Chen, do you know the rigging YouTube, on that? It's just a different.
I don't think I do. I think I saw his video a while back, but I don't remember the exact way he was rigging it.
It's about how it's like almost reversed. It's really goofy how it works out, but it's like super, super slick. And it's just something different that chances are they haven't seen, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, rigging with so it's like they're falling for the old tricks again. It makes me want to throw a spinnerbait really bad.
See, that's every time fishing stuff, I lock a tube in my hand. That's my bread and butter since I was 12 years old when I first learned it. And
that's awesome.
So when fishing stuff, I'll lock that in my hand for 6 straight hours and usually be able to grind out some fish. So
I'll share a quick story with you. My first introduction to a tube jig. We'll go past my stories. We don't care about what I have to say. Let's get to Jason. I said something funny there, I bet. But then I hear other guys like you that just go out there and just take money from suckers all day long with that approach, especially for smallies of all things.
Yeah, and I learned tube fishing from a guy named Curtis Welch, and back in the bass days, everyone called him Mr. Gidset here in Colorado. Best tube fisherman there was, and he was my mentor in the bass clubs growing up as a youth and when I hit the boat world. So I learned so much from that guy.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That is sweet. Hey, one last thing before we let you go here, brother. As you know, this will be airing while we're on air tonight here with James and Chen. Good stuff. Top 3 guys. Second place here. You're also sitting second place in Angler of the Year standings. There's a kid in front of you that's like putting on it reminds me of the late 90s Jeff Gordon era, where Mark Martin goes out and wins like 6 events. Any other year he's winning a title, and that's been kind of your year, dude. Any other year you're in the Angler of the Year, race. Right now Gardner is just stacking some numbers up that are pretty impressive. What's come together this year over others? Is there anything special or different about things? Are you more comfortable now? What is it that's giving you the? I mean, dude, you are Mr. Consistent this year.
I think I'm just getting more comfortable on the kayak. Just the way they move, positioning my kayak in the right positions, reading my fish finders better. Because like I said, I haven't been on a boat or a kayak with a finder since like 2005, except when I
Wow.
fished the full moon open with a buddy. So I think I'm finally just getting more comfortable at learning on the water again. So
That's awesome, dude. Well, you're certainly doing that, and it's been fun watching. Chin, how long you been in a kayak now?
Since 2021, so 3 years, 3.5 years.
3 years for you as well.
Yeah.
Well, this is cool. What was my? I think my first year was 2022 was my first year in. So I'm a couple of years in. So I don't feel completely, total rookied out. I'm still learning things about kayak fishing, and it has a lot to do with like just the positioning and the allowance. Tell me if you have this. So I have a beef if I start to drift and I can no longer cast the way I exactly want to cast. I will push my boat, nose back so that I can cast the way I want to cast. And I have a feeling I'm making more noise when I do that, and I'm possibly hurting myself in these wickedly clear waters where those fish get spooky the moment you get too close and start making too much noise. Do you just go with the flow and cast however to get to the target, or do you find yourself a little OCD like me where nope, I need to be casting and looking at the shore like this to do this deal? Is that just me? Am I just out there, or do you find yourself doing the same?
It depends for me. I usually will just adjust my body to make the cast again if I'm drifting or something. Most times I can just adjust pretty quickly with the Hobie, the 360 drive, or the motors. But I don't really care too often. The only time I really do care is if there's a ledge or I got to hit a pinpoint spot, or if I'm fishing docks where I want to parallel the dock or whatever it is. That's when or I'm trying to skip. Like I can't backhand skip. I still
Same.
cannot backhand skip, but I can skip. Just now my natural casting style. I can
Right.
definitely skip that way, but I definitely have to have the right position to make that perfect skip sometimes too.
Nice. Good stuff. Yeah, that's it's just as you get more and more comfy in it, it starts to make the decisions. You're less focused on these things. The hard part, though, I'll be honest with you, man. This last season really brought something into sharp contrast, and I remind myself every day when I heard about Alex Rojas and Trev Stuckey going in the water. These are two of some of the most experienced anglers that are out there, right? And even they had a small moment lapse there, and bang, something happened. So it's like, nope, we're not doing that. I remind myself every time I go out, it's mind your craft, kid. Mind your craft. Make sure you're, britches twixt the ditches, baby. That's how we're going out. That's what we're going to do. I mean, do you find yourself going down your checklist each time too?
Yeah, I do a lot of checks and stuff like that too. Definitely in the earlier years, did it more thoroughly. Now it's kind of like, I'm just going to go in the water. Then most times like, oh, I think I forgot something.
Right.
Yeah, so, but now you got it down where it's like, it's almost a routine. So you don't even think about it. You're like, hey, I got everything. I got my rods, tackle, life vest, all that stuff. Right.
Right. Yeah. I've actually, I've done one time where I went to the lake and left my electronics face back when I had Garmin's and that you could just pull the face unit off. I left that here on my desk and I was like, son of a. But yeah, it's definitely a routine based, deal that you go through.
Oh yeah.
Let's finish up the deal with Jason here. You. We're going to have you back on the show someday coming up here very soon when we start going through this, because one last piece that we've made the announcement, but I want to also mention it here that you have recently accepted the True Patriot Outfitters invite to join our pro team to help round us out, dude. And I got to tell you, man, what you bring to the team is such a vital key point. You're not a veteran like me, but you're a citizen. You're an angler that can pass on experience, and you're willing to give your time. And that showing these nation's warfighters that there's civilians out there like you and I that love these guys and appreciate what they do for us, so that you and I can go do our stuff. Dude, that is so vitally important. It's just as important as another vet helping another vet. is reminding them that the citizens out there are also, right by their, they've got their six just the same. And dude, thank you so much from all of us for accepting that invite and coming on board with it, man. I'm looking forward to doing some cool stuff.
I appreciate the invite to the team. It's a blessing to be on the team, and can't wait to work with you guys.
It's going to be fun. Going to be fun.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. All right, that's pretty much the interview there. We'll save from the logistics such that we were going through there. Let's get some background. There we are, back being official again. That was awesome to actually sit down with Jason and get a chance to meet him and talk with him. And Chan, you know him as well. I mean, he's one of the good people out there, right? I mean, it's cool. And what's again, we see this in the kayak game. You're the same of this. Not only are you guys amazing people, but you're freaking badass anglers too. And that's what's so cool to rub shoulders with you guys and be out there, because just when I think that I'm going to go, and we're going to focus maybe 100% on nonprofit and podcast, that competitive edge is still inside, man. And so I'm so very fortunate and grateful to fish against guys like you, Strawbridge, Ali. I mean, the name, we could go on and on with all the names out there, and Jason, just because you guys push, man. You've had to notice that, is that when you rub shoulders with those kind of people, it pushes you to up that game, right? I love it that Gardner's having the season he's having. Keep doing it, because now it's going to be even more sweet when we take you off of that pedestal.
Oh yeah. He's taking enough of our money, so.
Right. And I haven't seen one time where there was like a round of moon pies bought for us or anything, man. I mean, come on, Gardner. If you're watching this, right? Maybe some of those oatmeal cream pies. Those things are good. A box of Uncrustables, something.
I mean, Uncrustables, man. Right. I destroy a box of Uncrustables, man. Especially the tournament season comes. I was like one box every trip. I swear to God.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, my brother works for him. I'm not stopping. We're gonna find a way in there. We're gonna get a Smuckers League, a Smuckers boat, something. Smuckers needs to come on board with us and take the kayak world by storm. This could be dude, I can see it now. We'll set up a little table, True Patriot Outfitters and Uncrustables right next to each other. We will kill wherever we go.
Absolutely.
Well, good stuff, man. Was there anything from Water Valley that stuck out to you? Any key point of the day that was more memorable than others this year compared to last?
Oh man. I did fish it last year, so. This was my first year, but the big thing for me was just how hard those fish fought for being their size. So when they hit the top water, they looked like big fish, and then the way they fought much bigger than what they were. And I think because they were just so healthy from all the bait and the high metabolism and all that, right? So, but you'd bring them in, they're like 15, 16, 13. I had an 18. That one was definitely, I knew that one for sure was a bigger fish, but all the other ones felt like at least 3-pounders too, and they come in, they're like 16 inches and stuff. But that was probably the most memorable thing, because they just would fight so hard that you didn't know if you had an 18 or if you had a 13. Right? They're just digging and digging. Whereas where the weird thing is, a lot of places in Colorado too, when you hook a largemouth, they're kind of just and then come to the boat
like an old boot.
Yeah, but these guys were digging. And I have a YouTube, and you guys will see that come up on the channel probably next week or something like that too. But every time I set the hook, man, they would just start digging down. And it's like, most times I can just bring them in pretty easily and throw like 15 or 14 to 16 pound fluoro and leader to my braid. And most times I can horse them in pretty easily, but a lot of these fish are just peeling my drag, and I don't want to horse them too much.
Now your socials, is it CX Angler or CX Angling?
CX Angling.
Angling. Yes, if you guys want to see some awesome content, go check out at CX Angling, and that's on Instagram and YouTube, right?
Correct.
YouTube and Facebook.
Correct.
Perfect. Go give him a follow on there. You put out some great video content, man. I appreciate it quite a bit. It's cool to watch, and I love your real approach to that kind of stuff. You're not afraid to show the real side of fishing that comes with success and the getting our butt kicked when it when it happens out there. Because
there's a lot of heartbreak in fishing, man.
Right. All right, dude. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You stayed in here the longest, and now my brother from up north, Mr. Elvis Lee, wants to know. So is Chen coming to La Crosse in 3 weeks?
Damn, that sounds really tempting, actually, to be honest.
Dude, if you need to talk about getting there or some lodging or something, talk to me, dude. We could work something out. I'm sure. I haven't secured my lodging yet. I know a lot of people up there. That's the kind of I was kind of waiting to see how things worked out with All American.
What day does that fall on?
Let's see. Let's go to the calendar. That is August 17th and 18th, La Crosse.
Okay. I think I'll be fishing the Trinidad tournament that weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I told Elvis that I need to go up there on the kayak, man. I have a cousin up there with a skeeter, and I would go up there in the summer and fish on his bass boat, and it's just different from here, man. You got lily pads, tons of grass, docks,
night and day.
You've got a lake every mile. I mean, it's such a cool place, man. I love Minnesota fishing so freaking much.
It's all natural lakes. That's the other thing that we don't have. Those are all natural born lakes. These are all man-made lakes, and there's the fish. There's still bass and it's still fish, but there are caveats, right? There's small little differences that you got to learn up there.
Oh, yeah.
And where you can find the big ones. I got a buddy up there he is from a bass boat. He's equivalent to a Jordan Westerman when it comes to smallmouth fishing. He's hands down one of the most skilled. And the days that he and I would go out on his boat and go fishing up there, he taught me a ton up there. And I do miss that. I don't miss a lot about Minnesota, but I do miss the outdoors, and I miss the green and the fishing and the fishing community. That's the main area for sure.
Yeah, there's an awesome fishing community up there for boats and kayaks, man.
Yep. The thing of that metro area, there's so many lakes just around the Twin Cities area, but every night there's a tournament on them, dude. It is, yeah.
You got a Tuesday nighter, you got a Wednesday nighter, a Thursday nighter.
It is. I mean, every night.
Saturday and Sunday, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a very, but you got to keep in mind too, they're like us, even more so than us, the fact that they only get like 5 months out of the year where they really can, 6 months. And then they're in an ice house,
Yeah, they've got a closed and open season for largemouth as well, too.
Yeah. It's usually around Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. And they allow that the initial stage, to get rolling up there. Mind you, you're still fishing during the spawn, but the initial stage, especially if they get an early spring of some kind, they get a chance to get healthy. I think the catch and release season opens usually a couple weeks beforehand. And Elvis just said this perfectly. Minnesota fishing made easy by just showing up with no pre-fishing and just go fishing. Yeah. I think we could all learn from that.
Elvis is a big no pre-fishing guy, but it's true what he says is that it makes him so much better of an angler because he now has to make on-the-go decisions, right? And Elvis is an amazing angler. A super cool dude as well.
I ran into him for the first time. We got a chance to chat at length at Okoboji, and so that was he and I were chatting out on the water there, and he was looking at me like I was on smoking the devil's lettuce where I was sitting. But the day before, I had landed on a pod of them out there, and he was working some dock lines and doing really well in the event. And I was sitting out here just dying on a vine because it's like, I know they're out here. God damn it. They shouldn't have been, but I found them there. Nice. And and so everything had pretty much left me at that point. For sure. Craig McMillan says, how about Olympic kayak fishing? Why not? Breakdancing's in, for the love of God.
Really? I thought that was a joke. Someone told me that today, and I thought they were joking.
No, I think it's real. I think breakdancing is now an official sport. Good night. What would the ancient Greeks and Romans think of that?
Could you imagine what they'd be thinking? They see us on bass boats and fishing. Put some water in an arena. That'd be kind of funny.
Surrounded by gators, Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, listen, Chen, I appreciate you hanging out with us, brother. This has been an extra long show, but it was worth every minute of it, having all of you guys on here to talk. Coming up is Elwood. I will see you there, man. Jason and I are staying in Lexington there, just about 15 minutes away from the lake. Be getting there on Thursday, and looking to just go fishing on that body of water. Got a couple days to kind of pick it apart a little bit. And yeah, I'm excited to go in there and help Nebraska with its numbers. But I wanted to tell Andy this: make no mistake, I'm looking to take one of your spots. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my mindset on it as well.
Yeah, I love the fact that seeing the clubs work together to give another opportunity and another angler. But again, that's the beauty of our sport is it's competition, man. We're here to get her done, and I'll represent Nebraska. Go Big Red. I don't know, whatever I got to do.
Oh yeah.
And everybody that's been following along with us here, we've had a great viewership tonight from YouTube and Facebook and all the areas. And you guys commenting out here. We thank you guys so very much. Let me see what we got there. Elvis saying, good luck to you guys. Thank you, Elvis. We appreciate it. And see me at lacrosse. Yes, you will, sir. And I can't wait to fish that one. I'll be working it. But just the guy holding the microphone and reading stuff that Josh hands me. He'll be the one judging it. But I'm looking forward to fishing that bad boy. We're gonna frog and jigging, baby. That's all we're doing. Frogging and jigging. We'll live and die by the sword right there. So, Chen, thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure having you on the show, man.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure being here, Gene. I appreciate it.
You bet, brother. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, folks at home, if you're watching this live, thank you so very much. I don't have the words. We appreciate your hanging in with us for these long shows. If you're catching this in maybe 1 or 2 parts, however it is on recording, if you listen to this just on the audio side, we seriously can't do this without you, and we are so very thankful for all the patronage you guys continue to show us at the Paddle and Fin, and of course at the True Patriot Outfitters. Don't forget, go check out truepatriotoutfitters.org if you're interested in finding ways to help us stay on track and stay on mission. Our objective is to get as many of our nation's warfighters out in kayaks and get them on trips, create memories for these guys, create bonding, and let the healing begin out there, and ending and doing our part to contribute towards ending veteran suicide. They fought for us overseas. We don't want them losing the fight when they get home. And quite frankly, they deserve to learn the healing powers of the outdoors, man. And that's where you guys come into play. Spread the word about us. Talk to folks about us, especially those folks that work at big companies that would like to get behind us and help keep us on the road for years to come. We would appreciate that. As always, folks, likes, subscribes, the whole shebang. That's how we get her done here. Tight lines. Be safe.